Hi, everybody. How you doing today? Savage AF is the name of the show. My name is Black Pedro. I'll be your solo host again today. Checked in with Shang, and brother's still not quite feeling well, so he went to get a test. All of our fingers, toes, everything else is crossed to make sure that the brother's all right. Send your prayers up, send you good vibes. But he did go to get a test. Feeling a little wonky, he said, and so he's out. He's down for the count today, but no, well, not for the count. But he's not gonna be here today. He needs to rest up. I don't know if you check me on Instagram at Black Pedro, but my latest post is about my what's the right word? My inspiration to take an at-home COVID test. Boom, boom. Did that this morning because I don't know if you can hear it. I'm very, very congested. A lot of pressure, sinus pressure behind my eyes. And, for a second, I was just like, I know I can still taste. I know I can still smell a little bit, but maybe I should just check, So I went ahead and checked my nostrils this morning, did that home test for COVID-19. It's a 2-day process, really. But this first one came up negative. Tomorrow I'll do another one just to make sure. Let's all hope the best for Shang. I see y'all chiming in here. Thank you guys for following us. Savage AF is the show. Fuck your feelings is our motto. Facts matter. I'm your boy Black Pedro. Comedian Shang, all well and good. We'll be back here tomorrow. We do hope, for sure. Either way, though, we are here Monday through Friday, typically on Mondays and Fridays. We're here at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then Tuesday through Thursday, typically we're on at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. When I say live, I mean that we are on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously, which is English for the same damn time. If you miss us live, because you've got shit to do, that's why you need to be tapped into the YouTube page, okay? At the bottom, we will have scrolling for you right now. The URL for that YouTube page take you directly there, baby. YouTube.com/C, as in the lowercase letter C, /SavageAF World, all one word. When you get there, you're going to want to do this. That's what it is, man. Make sure you subscribe so that we can get our followers up and make multitudes of millions of mega dollars off of your eyeballs. Thank you. Appreciate that. And then click the bell for notifications so that, when we switch up our styles on you, tiger style, you'll know what's going on. Okay. That being said, even though we're called Savage AF and we say fuck your feelings, we are cognizant and aware of the diversity of people in this planet. And, some of y'all don't have eyes, or, might not be able to see, don't want to watch, you might like to drive time this instead. So we have options for you. Okay. We really do have options for you. You can catch us wherever you get your podcasts, okay? And you listen through your listening devices. iTunes, Google Play, Slacker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, and Spotify, yeah. I just switched it up. Usually I sing SoundCloud, but it slipped out, and then I realized I had Spotify left to fall back on Spotify. So I went ahead and I gave y'all a little ditty for that. Like I said, my nostrils, and where they should be. I should be like one of those singers with a scarf and a cup of like just hot water and lemon, for my vocals. But I didn't have time for that, guy. So I had to hold back today. Ladies, keep your panties on. Oh man. Okay. So here we go, guys. In addition to YouTube, and we are on Facebook as well. And wherever you get your podcast, make sure you do follow us on Instagram. Okay. Shang and I, we put up um plenty of content for you. So stop complaining. Just tell your friends about it. At Black Pedro, at Comedian Shang, at Savage AF Radio. And I know some of y'all out there ain't too good with the spellings and things like that. So it's at Comedian Shang, Shang. I'm going to show it to you. Bam. You can already see the Black Pedro in the corner of the screen if you're watching. But if for those who aren't, it's spelled Black and then Pedro. At Comedian Shang, Shang. You know what I'm saying? Because you got that G in them, you know what I'm saying? That's what we're going to do, man. Today, it is October 12th, 2021. It's a Tuesday. We're going up. I'm at my mama's house. That's a portrait of me as a baby in the background. I was like 2. Raise your hands, make some noise if you're portraitized in this world. That will be in the grand hall of the entrance of my 19-bedroom mansion one day. Get somebody to blow that up. Okay, guys, not going to be a long show today because, I'm by myself. And also because, honestly, I feel like there's just one thing for us to talk about. As a Savage AF community, where we say, fuck your feelings, facts matter. Okay? Black Pedro, Comedian Shang. All right. There's really only one thing to talk about today. Okay? Not a whole lot of gimmicks, not a whole lot of imagery today, guys. We're not doing it like that. Okay. Today, one topic, I just want to talk about a tale of 2 cancels. Okay. Hopefully, if you haven't been living under a rock or a moose or running with a pack of llamas, people do that, by the way. I don't know if y'all know that. But if you've been aware, a lot of controversy going on. We talked about one of those things yesterday, and it has escalated since. So want to retouch because I think it is sort of a serendipitous, synergistic, and coincidental, obviously, but still coinciding that you have these 2 sort of major. One's an attempted cancellation, and the other one I'm going to call a justified cancellation. And self-cancellation at that. So that is talking about John Gruden, the former, as of yesterday, the former head coach of the Las Vegas, where I am right now, the Las Vegas Raiders. And I drove up to 15 today as I was entering town. It's down on the south end. The Allegiant Stadium is the Raiders' new stadium. First time they've had fans in it this season. And yeah, man, just kind of chuckled a bit, like, well, better luck next time. But so John Gruden, former head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, forced to resign after even more emails surfaced beyond the racist big lip commentary they had about DeMaurice Smith, who I believe is like president of the Football Players Association. But he when players are in negotiation, when the Players Association is in negotiation, DeMaurice Smith is the guy that represents that entity. So we have this, right? John Gruden, we don't know if he resigned on his own or was pressured by the organization, but through his own actions, either way, forced to resign. Got to do it, bro. Because what we found is that beyond his, and again, he said DeMaurice Smith had lips as big as Michelin tires, I believe. I will acknowledge that, that's slightly true. DeMaurice Smith got some big ass lips, but that's for us to say. Okay, that's like, you can't call my wife ugly. That's my job, right? But in addition to the racist comments that John Gruden, former head coach of the Raiders, put out, there was also, some homophobic emails and commentary that was exposed, as well as misogynistic things against women. So we take all that, put it in one sort of ignorant white male chauvinistic, um, self-aggrandized sense of superiority basket, and you fired. Okay, that's what you're gonna get from that. Now, I would like to juxtapose or compare or analogize that, sorry, to um, the Dave Chappelle situation. If you haven't watched it, I need you to take the hardest object you can find in your radius right now and slap yourself in the face with it. Okay, get on Netflix, watch Dave Chappelle, The Closer. Shane did a review, so you might want to check that out. Make sure you're following him. But that being said, this was, I believe, maybe the height of Chappelle's brilliance, and just in terms of tackling a very tough issue that is awkward as shit to talk about, that most comics wouldn't be able to do well, and doing it, which is what I believe he did, whether you agree with him or not. And I don't agree with everything he says, but and if you haven't watched it, I won't be giving away any too many specific jokes. But I think we need to understand that John Gruden had to cancel himself, had to resign for all the things that he had said in the past, and in writing, by the way, not just like out loud, or you know what I mean, like, but email. That's the digital age of stone, right? Like, that's like carving it in stone. It's gonna be there for in the cloud forever. Um, yeah. Let me see what people think. Ronald Ewan just says no. First of all, let me shout y'all out. I thank y'all for being here, man. I didn't mean to skip past y'all like that. Nicole H, Pam Knox, appreciate you. Lady Hazel, I see you, girl. Bronda Ray, welcome back. Rock Rough and Stuff. JRA NYC representing the fellas. Ronald Ewan Humphrey doing the same. I appreciate y'all, man. Thanks for being here. We got trolls in the house. It's all good. All right, so yeah, understand that John Gruden had to resign. However, as Pamela Knox pointed out, Netflix has supported Chappelle. They're not taking it down. So from the platform, at least, Dave Chappelle has not been canceled. And what I'd mainly like to talk about today is why. Why is it this white man that looks like a grown-ass Chucky doll? Okay. Halloween's coming up. Let's just address it, the elephant in the room. Shout out Patrice O'Neal. But why does this, formerly miniaturized horror character who used to coach in the NFL, why does he get fired as a white man? And Dave Chappelle doesn't, and it's not like he works for Netflix, but pulling his special down would essentially be a firing in the world of stand-up comedy. So why does Gruden get fired or have to resign and Dave Chappelle doesn't? Well, according to Netflix, it's because Dave Chappelle's special does not cross the boundaries of hate. I would agree with that. Okay. It's critical. It is obviously divisive, for certain people and whatnot. It's controversial to say the things he said. But I would like for you to go back and watch over and over and over again and tell me where the actual hate towards trans people is, like hate, right? Um, absolutely what Chappelle is trying to do in the closer. I think he did it. And I think he highlights it towards the end there. And then it becomes evident. He becomes prophetic in terms of the reaction, because people reacted the exact same way that he believed they would, and their reaction is the thing that he's complaining about, which is that, and he said this, he said, if you look back at his material, his Netflix specials and whatnot, he's clearly always had a problem with white people, right? Like, that's constantly what he's been hacking at, is like the black experience in America, which is a direct result of white people, right? I'm gonna throw an H in there, white people, right? There's an H in there, I'm just gonna use it. Um, and there is one part where he's just like, and then they went and changed the game on him. And then they were like, well, now I'm a girl, nigger. I want you to call me a girl. I'm a woman now, nigger. Right? And a lot of people have a problem with that. They look at it as transphobic, homophobic, intolerant. And, another thing that Chappelle highlights is that they're not listening. So he wasn't complaining about having to call them a girl. If you look at the way he personified it, he said, "Call me a girl, nigger. I'm a girl now, nigger." So what he's actually highlighting is the racism, right? The bigotry that black people face from all aspects of society, including the trans community, because you can be trans and racist at the same damn time. Caitlin, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I've been drinking, but you can definitely be trans and racist, right? And a lot of black people complain like that we don't see other communities pop up for us, but when it's time to fight for Asian hate, or against Asian hate, and against misogyny, and for women's rights, or for trans people, for the LGBTQ community, that uh, we're supposed to step up and automatically be a part of that fight, but we don't see these same communities fighting for us. I typically, personally, don't tend to compare things and be like, well, why'd they get their rights and we didn't? I don't step into those waters, but Dave Chappelle did. And I think he explains it all quite well, quite brilliantly. And most importantly, given the format, in a funny way, in a way that, if you are listening, should be able to make you laugh, right? Whether you agree with it or not. But I will say this, I don't think that Dave Chappelle expressed hate for anything in that special or in any of his specials, except for racism and the way black people get treated in this country. It's something that he's always been good at, always been great at speaking about, and writing great jokes about, while still educating and enlightening for those who are listening, if you are listening. What's funny is, like, I think that both Dave Chappelle and John Gruden, like, nobody was listening to them, or at least the powers that be, right? Because the trans community has obviously had um, a negative reaction to the closer, to Dave Chappelle's last special on Netflix. Doesn't sit well with them. I would say you're also not listening, but I get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's there are words that you say in this society these days that just trigger people. This just triggers people or whatever. Uh, so sometimes when you say certain things, people turn off and they're just not going to hear you anymore. So yeah, the message is going to get lost to those ears. But I think we, as people of color, black people especially, fully understand what he you know and we hear the message. Pamela Knox said they don't even watch it and they get offended. I can't verify or deny that, but you know, it's one of those things people could see a clip and be like, cancel him, right? Yeah, the reality is the message is for that group. It's for a lot of people who aren't even going to be able to hear it. Yeah, when he said he was team turf, Pam Knox, that was tough. Like that's stepping out on an edge. Yeah. John Elway is apparently we have a Hall of Fame quarterback in the building. He says, I always tell my black friends Africa is booming. When I moved to Liberia, I felt celebrated more than tolerated. Well, there you go. I'm trying to look at your picture, John Elway, or your little thumbnail. You seem to be a person of color. So I couldn't tell if you were doing a go back to Africa thing or what. But there is serious debate, and I've thought about it. Like maybe we all should just get the fuck up out of here. Like, I mean, what are we trying to hold on to Oklahoma for? No offense, Oklahoma. Just John Elway continues. Why pay taxes and bleed for a country that only tolerates you? Amen, brother. I I have nothing wrong with that, man. But not everybody's gonna be able to bounce to Africa. Has the resources today. Some motherfuckers are stuck on the east side. Okay, so not everybody can bounce to Africa, but I'm not anti that. But the reality is for the majority of us who are going to stay here and need to stay here, should have the right to stay here. We got to find a way to get through this shit, and I think Chappelle's words help to highlight a path. It's like, hey, let's cut through all this hypocrisy, right? Like, you want us to fight for this cause and that cause and nobody's really fighting for our cause, no matter what we name it. Emancipation, Reconstruction, civil rights, affirmative action, Black Lives Matter. Like, why do we have to keep renaming the same movement? No, Black Lives Matter is the civil rights movement of this day. We are trying to reconstruct Black people still from slavery. Like, none of this shit has changed, right? So we're still there, and until everybody gets on board this Black thing, this is where Chappelle is. Like, it shouldn't be comfortable for everybody. I feel like that's ultimately what this special is. Like, no, nobody's safe or should be comfortable yet, because we aren't, and we keep fighting for you, and nobody's fighting for us, right? So let's go there. So that being said, with regards to Dave Chappelle's The Closer, Netflix stated, and I confirm, and I agree, and I hope you do too, that there's no hate for the LGBTQ or trans community, or that's the T, sorry. But for that community, the LGBTQ community, there's no hate for that community expressed, right? What he hates is America ignoring Black problems still, and we keep elevating everybody else's problems above the main persistent one in this country, which is Black people have always been subjugated, and we still suffer from the effects of slavery. And this country doesn't want to repair that. So we're always going to have those problems, right? Okay, so Dave Chappelle did not express hate in the material that he wrote. Now, when we compare that to the material that John Gruden wrote, I think we can clearly see why this man deserved to lose his job. Okay. He was, John Elway. I know there's extra letters. I forgot what the I and the A are for, man. God damn. And they were just new ones for me too, that I was like, what's I and the A? And so I don't mean to exclude anybody out of the LGBTQIA. And I don't make fun of it either. Have your titles, add all the letters you want. Have at it. But clearly we can see that if you look at John Gruden's materials, that the A is asexual, intersexed. Good Humor says the I is intersexed. Good Humor Wasted. I see you, Mama. Welcome. And the A is asexual. Intersexed. Yeah, I'm old. I was born in the 70s. I might have to look that one up. Not denying it. I recognize your existences and shit, but I don't even know what intersexed means. Oversexed, I've been. Out of sex, I've been, but inter, I don't know. Uh, Coach Adama says the alphabet people just need to chill and go eat or suck on something and relax. Yeah, I think first of all, we're just asking them to really, really listen to what Chappelle's actually saying. I mean, his comparison between the baby's um, incident at Walmart, which is what the song "Rockstar" is about, basically, and his incident with the AIDS HIV community. It's poignant. It is poignant. All right. But that being said, when we look at that Dave Chappelle's material versus John Gruden's, I think we can clearly see the distinction between criticism and hate, right? Like when you talk about DeMaurice Smith having lips as big as a Michelin tire, I mean, you're bringing up like some of the oldest and just classic racism, baby. Like them old the compilation album commercials where they're like, remember this song, nigger, nigger, please. It's like a racist compilation album. And Big Lip Nigger would be like the number one track on that motherfucker. Like, who remembers this ditty? Big lip nigga, big lip nigga, big lip nigga come around the way. Hey, like that's what John Gruden was tapping into. Okay. Um, in addition to that, there was plenty of misogyny in there against women. And, at the time that it was stated, his homophobic comments, he was, John Gruden, that is, was coaching the only and the first openly gay player in the league. Nasser is his last name. I mean, he's a Raider. So that ain't a good look. Okay. And on top of that, when we just look at the way Colin Kaepernick was treated and Eric Reed, and by the league and all of the owners of all 32 teams or whatever, we should be able to see that not just John Gruden, right? But that this entity of the NFL is a racist, intolerant environment, right? Like John Gruden wrote emails, and every now and then you might write an email to yourself, right, from one account to another. But he essentially wrote other people, like up to 10 years ago, with this, vitriol, and nobody said shit until way later. Which means that whoever he sent that to, whoever opened those emails and read that stuff, didn't have a problem with it back then. Not that it wasn't problematic, they just had no problem with it. Which means that he's in an environment which obviously made him feel comfortable to not just say this stuff, but write it like in an email, electronically log this motherfucker in the cloud forever, or at least until the cloud disperses. I don't know what happened to blackout. Yeah, so he not only felt comfortable saying it, but writing it, but then also sending it out to other people who in turn did nothing about it. So, yes, John Gruden needed to lose his job because the things he said did actually represent hate, right? When you comment on even when you are black and you comment on a black person's nose being too big, hair too nappy, lips too big, we're feeding into a Eurocentric trope that our physical appearance is lesser, that we are not the standard of beauty, and really have no place in the greater world, right? Like that we are just lesser beings. So when John Gruden comments on DeMaurice Smith's lips, he is spewing hate. And you can do all the white boy shit you want. Like, I didn't mean to hurt anybody. And that's that, that's the that's the jack off response, right? I didn't mean to hurt anybody. No, you didn't mean to get caught. You didn't think this shit would ever get out. The reality is you didn't give a fuck about hurting anybody's feelings. You didn't give a fuck about that. You just got caught. And so now you're saying the bullshit that you're supposed to say rather than not saying the bullshit that you did say in the first place, right? So, but beyond that, and yesterday, I was talking about it. This is why we need to be boycotting the NFL as Black people, as women, as gay people, trans, LGBTQIA. Whoa, a minute. I'm hip, I'm cool. Tucka, 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 tucka. All right, this is why we need to be boycotting this organization. Because obviously John Gruden ain't the only motherfucker that feels like this. Obviously. That's why more players in the league aren't feeling comfortable speaking out against it yet, right? Because they know what they're dealing with. They know what their locker room is. They know what their front office is. They know who they work for. A lot of us do. Say it again, Pamela Knox. Come on, man. Boycott this motherfucker, man. Come on, man. Kujidama says you think Randy Blower was the whistleblower. Randy Moss was the whistleblower, allegedly. Hey, whoever did, kudos to him. Okay. But yes, let's back off this NFL because this is bigger than John Gruden, right? Like Dave Chappelle doesn't represent comedy, right? He wasn't spewing hate in the name of comedy. But John Gruden, his hate was totally representative of the NFL's mentality, their operations, their logistics, right? Their ownership structure, okay, their exclusivity in that realm. I don't know, man. Like let's really think about stepping away from the NFL right now, right? Come on, y'all know I've done it, but if this isn't enough, I don't know what is, right? Because we have Dave Chappelle on one end, who is speaking righteously, whether you like the message or not. If you listen to it, it is a righteous message. It is in the vein of jokes. They are about a serious topic. But if you look at this, he got laughs in that room. In my hometown of Detroit, what up, though? He got laughs in that room, like big, like that's what I would call killing it on a special, right? Like they really will. And this isn't dick and pussy jokes, right? This is hard stuff to talk about. So that's comedy, turning tragedy into triumph, right? Turning tragedy into comedy, baby. That's what the goal is. So he did that. So that's not representative of hate at all. But what John Gruden did clearly was, right. The things he said are clearly hateful, clearly misogynistic, clearly homophobic. Clearly they cost him his job. Clearly Dave Chappelle's did not. So I need America. I need all of y'all to really, really, really sit upon why is it though, right? Because you can't be like, well, they only kept Dave Chappelle because he's Black. Like what? You can't, don't reverse the thing now. They'll be like, well, it's because he's Black that they didn't want to oppress the Black man. No, that's a white thing. White guys usually keep their jobs when they're not supposed to. Okay, so clearly John Gruden was beyond egregious because not only is he a white guy, but he's also a possessed, murderous doll. Chucky, that is, right? So why would you want to piss off Chucky, who's possessed by the devil and has a knife? By the way, who gave a goddamn doll a knife? It's just like a bad accessory for a toy. But I don't write movies, so whatever, man. But that being said, right, like typically this would be a situation where a few words could be said and John Gruden could move on. His team is white quarterback. Derek Carr was like, he doesn't have an ounce of racist. He doesn't have a racist bone. John Gruden, I don't have a blade of racism. I don't have a drop, an ounce of racism in me. Maybe because you put it all in the emails that you sent, but they out there, dog. All your little drops of racism is out there. Yeah. Uh-oh. We thinking about skits now, Miss Good Humor Wasted? Yeah, let's talk about black privilege. What would that look like? Is white people get charged extra for flaming hot Cheetos? Like, I don't know. Not to start at the bottom, but we here. We'll move up from there. But yeah, there is no black privilege in America except on the field and the dance floor, and in some small business circles, I assume. But Nicole H said it. Bones aren't racist. Nope, unless you write nigger on them. It's a white bone with nigger on it. That's a racist bone. But that takes external influence. You know what I'm saying? Inherently, bones are not racist. Oh, there you go, Miss Adverb. How about when our hair? Yeah, let's lock up all the white hair care products. Okay, black privilege. Yeah, no, we're gonna get to writing something. We're gonna do a little sketch with this one, y'all. Okay, we're gonna get some black privilege going. We're gonna write this as a community. But yeah, let's lock up the Pantene. The Biolage. Yeah. What's another white product? Dove. Lock that up. And I know they got sisters, and yeah, sisters could use Dove, but yeah, this is what it sounds like when doves cry. This is all I had to talk about today, guys. Really, is really I looked at these two situations and I just thought to myself, well, wow, these are two big icons in their arena. Okay, John Gruden has coached the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a Super Bowl. Didn't he? No, didn't he win? He won a Super Bowl somewhere, didn't he? I know the nigga went. Actually, I think he lost the Super Bowl with the Bucks, right? No, didn't he win one? He won one with the Bucks, right? He left the Raiders, went to Tampa. Am I tripping? Somebody clarify that for me. Either way, he is a legendary coach. Kind of became this generation's John Madden in terms of Monday Night Football and whatnot. Had these little quarterback clinic sit downs that were awesome. Dave Chappelle is, if not the one of the goats of all time in comedy. I mean, ain't too many people can argue with that, man. If they do, you can slap them. Sometimes people are just wrong in an argument. You just slap their ass, move on. So you have these two icons in their respective fields, comedy and football, under fire for things that they've said or written. And in Dave Chappelle's case, both, because we whether you write it down or not, the words we say, the things we get, that's writing. And John Gruden put his in emails. That at this time, one gets fired, the white guy, and the black guy does not. And I just need America, the greater America, right? And I don't mean greater in terms of MAGA, definitely, or importance or superiority. I just mean, in terms of numbers of group, like white America, LGBTQIA, that you guys need to understand why Chappelle wasn't canceled. He was not spewing hate. Here's another thing because I do want to address this before I go, is that Chappelle was not spewing hate, but I could understand how his words could be used by some as fuel to hate that community, the LGBTQIA. I understand how that could be used. That, however, is not on Dave Chappelle, right? As artists, once you put art out, it's up to the audience to interpret it. And if they misinterpret it and use it for evil instead of good, that truly is on them, right? Because I still do to this day, a lot of hip hop that talks about beating the shit out of women and killing fellow black people and selling drugs to your own community. And I've never done any of those things or had a desire to do any of those things because I had the proper filters to interpret it, to understand the art, to understand the anger and the rage and the frustration that was in the music and the lyrics, but not necessarily take on that spirit such that I begin to emulate the behavior, right? If I listened to an NWA song and then went out and did some NWA shit according to those lyrics, that ain't NWA's fault. That would have been my motherfucking mama's fault, right? That would have been her fucking fault. So anybody who listens to The Closer on Netflix, Dave Chappelle, and finds inspiration to hate anybody, you're a fucked up person who was raised wrong. Your parents were fucked up. Your family's fucked up. You got that one cousin that won't talk to you anymore. That's because she ain't fucked up. She's the one that's not fucked up. She went to a liberal college in the Northeast. She got out of Tennessee and she made it. And the rest of y'all are sitting around, okay, fucked up. And you'll listen to some shit Dave Chappelle said, God damn it, I knew it, man. Let's go burn this, a he, she. And that'll be, that wasn't the point. John Gruden, if somebody reads his stuff and is inspired to hate, that's because it's some words that are meant to inspire hate, right? Like John Gruden didn't like DeMaurice Smith or his big ass lips. And obviously had a problem with women, and obviously had a problem with gay people, especially being on a football team. So his words, John Gruden's, that is, former Raiders coach, are absolutely intended to inspire hate. Not one word of Dave Chappelle's was intended to inspire hate, intended to hurt anybody, right? And if it did, you've misinterpreted that, because what John Gruden did is not, there's no questioning that, right? Like, this is hate. This is what hate looks like. This is what it sounds like, especially when it comes from that body, from a chucky faced white guy, all freckly and whatever. But like, he doesn't have to deal with all of this. He's a white guy doing white guy things. So anybody who looks different or acts different or is different from him, boom, they get the business. Dave Chappelle is a black man in America. He could catch hell for any. It don't matter if he's a mechanic or the biggest comedian on the planet. He's gonna catch hell at some point at the grocery store. A motherfucker gonna follow him around, not because they think he's famous, because they think he's stealing. That he's not immune to that. So these are the frustrations that he's trying to explain to a specific group of people for everybody to interpret and understand. And yeah, I think this is the difference between brilliance and bigotry, between intelligence and ignorance, and between art and bullshit. Dave Chappelle, John Gruden. Chappelle lives on. Gruden, you're going back on the Chucky shelf, you fucker. Ultimately, I did this whole show just to say, please fuck the NFL, guys. Like, please fucking stop watching the NFL. Just for at least one season. Like, one season, give this shit up. And let's see if we, because important thing Jamel Hill brought up is you can't trust the NFL to police itself, right? It's like the cops reforming themselves. It's like the KKK, trying to rewrite its own charter to be more inclusive. Like, I don't trust that, dog. All right. Good Humor Wasted said it's all about the SEC. I like where you're going with that. However, Big Ten football for life. Stay off the drugs. Thank you. I also support Ivy League football for personal reasons, not because it's fun to watch. But yes, that being said, Jamel Hill did say this, that you cannot rely on the NFL to police itself. You know what will police the motherfuckers? Money, dollars, money, 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 money. As in, if they get less of it, they'll be like, what happened? Oh, maybe we should. Because painting justice or BLM on the sideline or in the end zone or stop hate on a goalpost. Stop it. That ain't gonna stop hate. So stop it. Okay. Yes. Good Humor Wasted said, if you got offended by the Chappelle comedy show, you have work to do internally. Listen to really what the man says. Like really, and he literally says that as a sentence. Like they're not listening. Like you have to really listen to what he says. I'm a girl now, nigger. Why are you paying attention to the I'm a girl part and not the nigger part? All right. All right, Evelyn Gatlin, Big Ten for life. I see you. No. Pac-10 Coochie Namas. What you talking about, bro? I'm from the Midwest, dog. Go blue, Michigan. Undefeated, 6-0 right now. Let's go. We have a bye week, so my Saturday is gonna be boring. But that being said, man, that's my show for today. Savage AF. I'm Black Pedro. Let's all put out the best energy, prayers, however you do yours, mojo, whatever you want to call it, for Shang, who is feeling under the weather, has taken a test. I think we're waiting to hear the results, and but we want to make sure that brother is all good and hasn't contracted anything, even though he is fully vaccinated. And even if he does, should still be okay statistically. All right, so but we will be back here tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here live, YouTube, Facebook. Let's not be afraid to have these conversations about tolerance and Chappelle and Gruden and I wanted to bring this up so that we have this analogy of like, all right, well, look at these two guys at the same time under fire for controversial statements and writings. One gets fired, one does not. Do we understand why? All right. I'm Black Pedro, here to explain everything in life that I understand the way I understand it. Savage AF, fuck your feelings, facts matter. Guys, we'll be back here tomorrow. In the meantime, I want y'all to stay conscious. I want you to stay righteous. And I want you to keep your guatch damped finger out your fucking nose, man. Shit, you nasty.